Okay, guys, once again, we are back with another update for the Landmark Classic 2021. We are with John and Brian Burgun in the United States of America. Guys, welcome back to the Classic.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We're going international this year with you currently stuck over in the United States. Tell us about the restrictions, and unfortunately we won't get to see you in person at the Classic, but you're supplying the saddle once again for the fourth year for the Classic.
Yes, we're definitely committed to the campcraft industry in Australia with our new Fender saddle. Everything we did in that saddle, we're all about enhancing performance, and that's been our goal throughout our career in building saddles, is to always enhance the performance of the horse or rider through a better fit. And we've been able to achieve that throughout the years. And so as we start breeding for certain trends in our horses, we get changes. And one of the things we have got changing a lot has been the top line of a horse. And so these days we really want to emphasize on releasing that shoulder area as much as we can, allowing full rotation of that scapula, allowing free travel, and allow that horse to be able to reach out once you get out of that camp, be able to cover his beast, and in the camp, be able to lift that shoulder up and come through himself, not be bound up. At the same time, sit that rider in a balanced position so that they can have their legs underneath them and be able to use that horse when they need to be able to use that horse.
So, John, would you say that's because you're ever evolving your trees and continually trying to keep ahead of the styles of horses, like keep up to date with being able to achieve that in the front end?
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things we always have watched is the conformation of the horse. And Brian might be able to touch on that. He's
it just when you think you've got it dialed in, and you start to see trends change. And so I imagine farriers kind of see the same thing happen, and as they're working with these horses' feet, so it's really fun getting to follow these trends, but it's fun seeing the performance side, and when these riders can physically feel the change in the horse's performance and the horse's attitude. And when you got a balanced foundation there for the horse, it makes a balanced foundation for the rider to ride in as well. So it all goes hand in hand. But I did hear you ask earlier about the restrictions and lockdown and what it's kind of done to the horse industry. And weirdly enough, over here in the States, obviously the horse is most people's therapy. So when everyone got locked down, horses started to sell for some really, really good prices. People that were maybe on the fence about ordering a saddle, we maybe been talking to over the last year and a half, and they just weren't sure, or shows were canceled and shut down for a while. They had time to sell their saddle, put a deposit on a saddle. And so we've been blessed that we were able to stay incredibly busy during this time. And people really spent time, figuring out what is bugging my horse, or what can I do to improve things. And they fixed a lot of the issues and the kinks. And so in a weird way, we were blessed and were able to stay incredibly busy during this time.
Now, how many of you converted into our style of tree over there and our saddle? The way are we starting to get any inroads over there?
Yeah, we do a crossover saddle, which is the Fender saddle, exactly how Dad would bring them over for the camp draft, but we anchor a horn. So it's been a game changer for some of the barrel racers, that are going 9-0 and could use a little extra security. And even a couple colt starters now have found the benefits of having those knee pads, and it definitely can make you feel a little more brave having that there. So it's been fun, and someone's kind of proud because it's a conversation piece. They're not going to walk up to the arena and seeing that and seeing those Mickey Mouse ears and people, what is that? What in the world are you riding? And so some of them feel pretty proud to be able to talk about it and tell them about their Roo-Hide.
Yeah, it's been
That's unreal.
a game changer for a lot of the barrel races, giving them that extra security and confidence that they needed. Yep.
And I imagine there's so many aesthetic changes. Like that was the hard thing maybe for someone at first was they'd see it like, oh, well, you know, maybe that's not so cowboy or that's a little different. And then once they'd get it and they could feel the difference, they're like, oh, I don't care what it looks like, I'm using it. And I imagine maybe even some of the Aussies were the same way when they saw how much skirt our fender saddle had in comparison to a traditional Aussie saddle. And then once they felt the benefits and how much more stable that saddle would ride with having a little more skirt there, oh, okay, you know, I could sacrifice it, maybe looking a little more Western. And
and that's Brian brought up a point there. When we first came out with the fender saddle, I didn't have a skirt on, and I went out to the arena and I started working my flag. And I noticed how much that saddle was moving all over my horse's loin, and I hadn't felt that since I was a kid growing up in the Riverina, and because I've been riding cutters all these years, and the saddle always sat quiet, and so I went back to the shop, pulled that skirt off, and put a regular skirt or a bigger skirt like we do now on the fender saddle. And I went back to the arena, and that saddle never moved. And I said, from that day forward, we were going to have skirts on our saddles. The other thing it also does, it helps dissipate a little bit more weight off that horse's loin. That loin area is not a weight-bearing area. And so that skirt becomes a stabilizer and helps dissipate some of that weight off that loin area. And so I think the skirt has a big function in getting a better fit on the horse to enhance performance. Distribute that weight over the rib cage area a little bit further,
Another thing you touched on was the Riverina, and we're so proud that you're an Aussie giving back to the Australian sport. And the Classic it's a homegrown event that's growing, that is just phenomenal. And the Landmark Nutrien guys now are just taking it to another level. You must be proud to be associated with such a first-class outfit.
Oh, definitely. I'm so excited to see the challenge, how it's grown, and the level of the bar has just been raised that much more. I remember the first year I went over, some people thought they could go on the challenge and wing it. There was no winging it the second year. They came back prepared, and every year the bar has been increased. The competition is getting stiffer and stiffer, and it does nothing but enhance the performance of the camp draft industry. It's phenomenal.
Absolutely, and from the Nutrien team, we'd like to thank you so much for your support and your saddles. It's amazing that and there's going to be many, many years to come. But we'll try and talk to you throughout the event in the same capacity. And thank you, John and Brian Burgun, for your support for the 2021 Nutrien Classic.
Thank you. I appreciate it.